Welcome to another episode of Dayana Talks. Today I'm going to be talking about how to cope and manage anxiety. Now, I'm going to speak both from experience, from what I have learned in school, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, everything that I say in here is based on experience and what I have learned in school by getting a psychology degree and also mental health counseling master's degrees that I am undertaking. So I still don't have a master's, but I am learning. In no way or form, this is me giving you medical advice. Seek a professional whenever you need it. This video in no way or form is to substitute any help that you may get or that you can get from a professional. That's just my little disclaimer. All right, so let's get started. In a nutshell, not to bore you with the definition of the DSM-5 and to give you the most simplistic form of it, anxiety is when you worry a lot about the future and you have irrational fears and irrational thoughts on what you can't control. That's the kind of it in a little bit more simplistic ways, but don't quote me on that. If you want the exact definition, just look it up on the DSM-5 or just Google it. With that being said, based on what I have experienced myself, anxiety did surface for me when I try to control too much of my situations, when I try to control too much by environment of my situations and of the future. It was about me worrying too much about what was happening next. Now, this causes a lot of distress. It shows up in our physical body, it shows up mentally and emotionally. It is overwhelming and it is exhausting to be dealing with anxiety. I know this. First thing that I want to address, desensitize from the word anxiety. And what I mean by this is don't label yourself as an anxious person. Remove anxiety as an identification for yourself. Don't label yourself as anxiety. Your anxiety is not you. It's something that is happening to you, something that is happening within you, but it's not you. Try to remove that from you so that way you can separate those thoughts, those feelings, those sensations away from who you are as a person. Who you are is so much more than that diagnosis, than that label, than also that self-diagnosis, because this is what happens often. We self-diagnose based on the information that is out there. With that being said, remove that label of anxiety. Once I did this, I was able to really take my life to a whole nother level because I stopped addressing anxiety as something that was mine. That was something that was innate, and that's something that identified me. Remove that identification because you are not it. It's something that is happening to you. So instead of saying my anxiety is da 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 da, when I'm dealing with my anxiety da 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 da, instead of saying that, just say I have anxious feelings. I feel anxious. I have been dealing with signs of anxiety. I have been dealing with anxiety. It's something outside of you. So removing that label is a really great step and a good first step to really desensitize yourself from it and really learning how to understand those feelings of anxiety rather than just identifying as yourself as an anxious person. Remove it so that way and start understanding where that anxiety is coming from. Which leads me to my second point. One thing with anxiety is that we are scared and we get anxious because we are trying to control things that are outside of our control, meaning we're trying to control people, our environment, our situations, and everything. When in reality, the only thing that you can control is yourself. And technically, that's also a little bit, The only thing in my belief that you can control is your thoughts. And once you're able to control your thoughts, then everything else starts flowing better and you start feeling better in general. Identify what triggers you and identify what your thoughts are popping up. When you start thinking too much about what's gonna happen next, so when you start thinking too much of the future, when you start thinking and worrying about other people and in the sense of like when you're worrying what they're thinking, when you're worrying about what to do next, what is gonna happen tomorrow, what's gonna happen in a year from now, those worries, one, they are not serving you in any way or form because those are things that you can't control. You can't predict your future. You can't predict what other people are going to do, and you can't predict how people are going to make you feel. The only thing that you can do for yourself is control your thoughts in a way that serves you best so you can feel better. So when you start noticing those thoughts that are irrational, that are worrying, that are based on fear, that are causing you those feelings of anxiousness and of anxiety, all you have to do is take notice of them, become aware, acknowledge them, and rephrase them, reframe them, turn them into a positive, or just come back to the present moment and notice what you have under your control. Another great way to cope and manage anxiety is to journal often. So it's bringing yourself back into that present moment. Journaling what's happening with your thoughts. One tip that I give to my clients whenever I'm coaching them and that I give to as an advice and as a tip, the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is write down any thoughts that are coming up to you. Whether that be positive or negative, just write down what you're thinking, whatever comes up in your head. And then while you're doing that, you are looking at what you're writing. You are looking at your thoughts that are happening inside of you. In there, you're able to look at it from a bird's eye perspective, and you are able to reframe them or rephrase them in a way that serves you. You are able to see what's rational and what's irrational. Once you have that, you are able to understand your thought process and change it. Once you have released every single thought that you have had in your head and that you have been holding on and that you just need to get out, the next thing to do is write down what you're grateful for. Start feeling better after going through that process. So write down at least 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for. That will allow you to see what you have and what the goodness that you have in your life at this precise moment. And if you think that you don't have anything to write down that you're grateful for, just notice at the fact that you're alive and that you're breathing. That's something to be grateful for. Once you have done that and you have written down at least 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for, then you move on to writing your affirmations. Now, these are phrases that you create for yourself that are in a positive form in order to condition your brain and rewire your brain in a different way so you can start thinking in a more positive way and start believing more in yourself. Now, affirmations are something that really, really helps when it comes to anxiety because you are able to address those irrational thoughts, those worries, and those fears, and translate them in a more positive form. So something that I like to do, actually, and that has worked wonderful for me is, in the beginning stages, what I started to do is write down an affirmation that was, I am learning to let go of insecurities, of fear, of worry, and anxiety. And here's the thing, and this is why I chose to write it like that. It's because I wasn't ready to let them go just yet. I was learning how to let them go. So writing that affirmation gave me the capability and the belief that I was working on letting those things go. Once I felt as though I was ready to continue to move on, then I started writing, I am letting go, or I let go of insecurities, worry, anxiety, and fear. Writing those affirmations every day help you rewire your brain and your unconscious being into noticing, again, what you can control and to really let go of that fear, of worry, of anxiety, and those things that are causing you to feel that way. And once you have done that and once you have finished writing down your journal, your journaling and writing down your thoughts, your gratitude list, and then your affirmation list, then, which is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And I know that everybody says it, but it's true, is to meditate. But meditation doesn't necessarily have to be you sitting still and doing meditation. It can also be in movement form, like yoga. At the beginning stages for me, it was so hard to sit still. I found yoga to be the most useful form of meditation. Sure, I was moving and I wasn't in complete stillness, but my mind was so focused on what I was doing with my breath and with my body movements that was able to calm me down and meditate in that way. Another very important thing to remember is that you have to take notice on what triggers you. What is causing that anxiety to flare up? What is causing that anxiety to be constant, if anything, in your life? You have to take notice and really reflect upon, where is this coming from? Where is this anxiety and this feeling of anxiousness coming from? Again, come back to your thoughts. What are you thinking at that moment that it's making you feel that way? What is going on in your environment that is making you feel that way? what is going on in your environment that is causing a certain thought that is making you feel that way. Stay in tune of where the trigger comes from and what triggers you so that you can understand how to deal with that later on and how to work through that. You may need more help than just you doing it on your own. And here's where I tell you, when dealing with anxiety and when having these feelings, make sure that you reach out to people. Make sure that you reach out to a friend, to a family member, to a mental health professional, to a coach. Get yourself someone that you can talk to about these things. When you hold these things in your head, that's what makes your brain go in overdrive. So get yourself someone that you can talk to. Voice out what is going on in your brain and what's going on within you and your feelings and everything. Journaling works perfectly. It's a great tool to utilize to let those thoughts out, but it's so much more different when you actually voice those thoughts out to someone else. Another thing that I really and highly recommend doing whenever you are dealing with anxiety and how to cope with it is making sure that every day of your life you are adding at least 5 minutes to your day where you are doing something that brings you joy and it allows you to stay grounded and present. Again, feelings of anxiety is because you worry about the future. You worry about what's going to happen next. You worry about things that you can't control. It's fear. It's fear driven. It's irrational thought. You've probably heard this so much already before, but another one thing and big thing to do is to really just stop and breathe. I know so many people say it, it's like it doesn't work and da 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 da. So the biggest thing to do when you are stopping to breathe and really connect with your breath is really setting an intention. That's something that has helped me a lot. What I do is I set the intention of allowing my breath to calm me down. Just taking the time to really take deep breaths and take notice of them in that moment. Just going inhale and holding for 4 seconds and then deep exhale. That is something that has worked for me so well. And I know what you're gonna say. It's like, that is what everybody says, but the truth is, it's what works. Your breath is your life force. Your breath is what calms you down. And that's what allows you to come back to one, come back to neutral, and be present, because the only thing that you're focusing on is your breath. So set the intention to not remove the anxiety. Set the intention to connect with yourself so that you can start feeling better and feeling more calm. Another big thing as well is move your body. That's why, and most likely, that's probably why yoga worked for me so much when dealing with the anxiety that I was having. It's because, one, I was able to connect with my breath. 2, I was moving my body and I was allowing so much energy inside of me. I was allowing breath to go through my body. That's probably why it worked so well. I was present. I was meditating during that moment. I was allowing myself to stay in tune and to listen to what my body, my feelings, and my mind was telling me to do. Connecting in that way will allow you to diminish those symptoms of anxiety. Journaling, gratitude list, affirmations, meditation, and talking it out. I don't think I would be here today if I wouldn't have gotten myself someone to talk to. So if you ever need help, just don't hesitate to reach out. I am a fully qualified and accredited coach. I don't focus on helping people through anxiety and with anxiety, but that's one of the things that I do within my coaching as I help overwhelmed entrepreneurs. There it is. You have someone new to talk to and that you can share stuff with whenever you feel like it's too much. All right, if you like this video, make sure to like it, comment down below what you got from it, comment down below what else do you need help with in the realms of mental health, wellness, and lifestyle, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. Just click that. Alrighty, so I'll see you next week on Dayana Talks. I hope you have a lovely day, and hopefully this was helpful to you in any way or form. Don't hesitate to reach out. You can just find my information on the description box, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye. Yo, what's up? Okay. So to get started, oh, my friend is blind. Essentially, I'm just playing with like props, but goddamn, my friend is blind as shit. What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Friend is so blind. Oh, gosh.